Welcome back to another lesson with me, Mr. B. Today, we're going to overview the Talambuhay Brainstorm worksheet. Over on Google Classroom, under the Classwork tab, you're going to find the lesson that is labeled Talambuhay Brainstorm. You'll find a copy of your own document and also my teacher example. So if you need a paper copy, just let me know, or you can replicate it on a piece of binder paper in a notebook, or you can print it yourself. All right, first we have the instructions. Talambuhay is a Tagalog word meaning life story. Think of important moments in your life for your life story. Everyone will make a Talambuhay presentation just like the one that I did on the very first day of school to introduce yourself to the class. So some questions that I want you to keep in mind as you pull on those memories and life events is who, what, when, where, and why. And you'll see how those questions keep reoccurring in each of the sections that we're going to review in this video. So the purpose of this assignment is to introduce yourself and build community by learning more about each other. More than just, and nothing's wrong with knowing if people like pizza or ice cream or cereal before milk, but with this, we're gonna take a deeper dive into each of our life stories and share it with the class. Starting off with number 1, so important moments in your life. And so here are some of those 5 questions. What was an important moment in your life? When did it happen? Where did it happen? And why was it an important moment in your life? So for when and where, you're going to notice it might feel a little bit repetitive. So do your best to be as specific as you can in each category. Later on, we're going to look at my examples to see how I differentiate or separate my responses in each of these sections. Now let's move on to number 2. What challenges have you experienced? You can list what those challenges were, when did they happen, where did they happen, and why did you think it was challenging? Then section number 3, who or what has inspired you? And who or what has shaped your identity? In the rows below, it says who or what has inspired you, who has shaped your identity, and why have those people or things inspired you or shaped who you are today? And then lastly, what makes you happy? So you can write who makes you happy, what makes you happy, and then explain why does that make you happy? Now over in my example over here, I wrote a few, but of course not all of the ones that were in my Talambuhay presentation. So this can be in the format of some bullet points like so. Just gonna add little dots for bullet points, or you'll see later on that I write in complete sentences as well, whatever works best for you. So for important moments in my life, I decided to list 3 of them. I included when I got hired at Lincoln, my girlfriend's emergency, and then when I lost my grandfather. So in each of these sections, we can see that the 3 topics are separated, but I didn't put any bullet points. So with the when section, I said when I got offered the job, which was at my commencement or graduation. As for my girlfriend's emergency in summer 2020, and when my grandfather died, summer 2018. And again, in the where section, I separated them by USF, Long Beach, and then Union City over here in East Bay. Now in this last section, I felt like it was going to take up too much space if I separated it by pressing enter. So I decided to write it in a little paragraph. I wrote, it was an important moment in my life because had I chose my old high school, I wouldn't be the teacher that I am today. The loss of my grandfather was devastating to my family and me, which had residual effects when my girlfriend went to the hospital. And I didn't want to go through that again, especially when it was the most important person in the world to me. My best friend, my roommate, the person that I see my entire life with. So as you can see here, it does get a little bit more personal, and you can put as much description as you want. This brainstorm is not going to be shared with anyone. This is more for your notes that you can reference later on when you're making and designing your Talambuhay. Let's look at number 2. So what's a challenge that I faced? I wrote down long distance relationships and I put when, so that's still an ongoing thing from 2020 to present. Where did it happen? Here I'm in Fremont and in Long Beach. Why was this challenging? I wrote that it's challenging because between balancing work, life, and a relationship that's so far away affects the meaning or emotions that come across when you spend physical quality time together. So again, you want to get as specific as you can. And a lot of these why sections could actually act as kind of your speaking reference points for when you present. Number 3, who or what has inspired you? Who or what has shaped your identity? So in here, I listed some other folks. I just decided to change topics a little bit. I included my teaching mentors, and then I said something different for who or what has inspired or shaped my identity. So for my teaching mentors, I just talked a little bit about how they changed my perspective on teaching. They took what I knew and shattered it. I thought teaching was supposed to be what I experienced in high school, but then I learned that there are other ways to teach enriching content and world-connecting, culturally relevant curriculum. And then I talk about my older brother, who has shaped my identity. He has a heavy influence on my life because we always go back and forth with ideas, and we could talk and discuss for hours. His growth and my growth have depended on one another, kind of just collaborating on ideas, which brings us to our current stages of life. Then lastly, number 4. As you can see, this is spilling over into a third page or longer. Obviously, you're not limited to just the small spaces of these boxes. So if you're doing this on paper, you may want to staple an extra page if you have a lot to say. So for who makes me happy, I wrote my girlfriend, Aya. I wrote about my dog, Miso, who's somewhere back over there, and then my friends. And what makes me happy? Definitely making videos like these, or just videos in general. I love playing video games when I can find the time to, and I especially, like I mentioned in my Talambuhay, love quality time with my friends or family. And then why does that make me happy? So I listed that being with my girlfriend just makes me feel whole, and it reminds me that there's more to life than just teaching. Then there's also my dog, who dogs just unconditionally love you, and this is my first dog, so she's very much like my child and means a lot to me. And then when it comes to my friends, whether we're in person or on Discord, it's just always a good time. And I play a lot of video games with them, or we just hang out, go rock climbing, or go to the beach, or go on road trips. And then the last thing that makes me happy that I listed is video games or making videos. So like I just mentioned, I play a lot of video games with my friends, or I play video games for my own self-enjoyment. And then making videos also reminds me that I have interests outside of teaching, things that make me who I am. And I could go into how that has also shaped my life if I wanted to include that in section number 3. So I hope that was a useful and thorough overview to bring clarity to the instructions of the Talambuhay Brainstorm worksheet. If you have any questions, make sure to ask a friend first, and then ask me if you still don't understand or you just need help brainstorming your ideas. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.